All right, today is Tuesday, March 4th. It is about 3:14 p.m. here on the East Coast. I have Southrick, who is based down around Dallas, Texas, here with us. And we also have Vino Prasad, who's also the great state of New Jersey, both checking in on the call. So great to see you guys.
Hey
Hi
Jay,
there.
Today we're going to talk about this DeepSeek thing that everyone was talking about a month and a half ago. I don't know how much people are talking about DeepSeek today, but DeepSeek is still on my mind, just 45, 50 days later. Um, have you guys noticed any difference between, that moment with DeepSeek and what you're seeing going on right now?
To me, it looks like everyone's following what DeepSeek did in terms of fine-tuning, optimizing, because now they've proved that you can technically beat closed source models with 10% of the cost. So,
Yeah, it's pretty nuts to see like literally 10% of the cost is like, especially when you're working in the millions, like one team puts up 50 million and no one else can compete with them. Now someone's like saying, hey, we have $5 million and we can compete. And then some guys in open source are like, hey, wait a second, we don't even have the 5 million, but we can just hack something together. And open source is just continuing to keep fast following on closed source within 24 to 72 hours, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, that's a really good observation, Vino.
yeah, I think people are getting to use this model a lot, like in the open source community, especially like smaller sized model like the 7 billion model, because when it comes to like devices which have like a lot of constraints in terms of memory and CPU power, these small models are very performant in comparison to the already existing closed source models that are offered for a premium price by these large or like small corporations.
I'm with you there. And like talking about those constraints is very interesting because when I think about my phone, I think that the biggest thing about AI that changed things was like I never thought I would be writing code on my phone, but I have made at least 12 apps on my phone, like while I'm in bed, while I'm trying to go to the subway, while I'm in between cooking. I can just like if I have an idea, I'm like, I just want to see what it looks like. And then I can get code generation through V0 or Replit directly on mobile, which is like I never thought that was going to happen. It makes me think a lot about, especially with large models, it's like, all right, but what happens? Like I still have an iPhone 11. Um, and what about the other situations where I'm somewhere and I mean, granted, you have 4G everywhere, but in reality, a lot of places are giving you like 3G speed, not getting 4G LTE speeds everywhere, even in America. So it does make me think with mobile, like small models are going to be the future, but then with pieces of hardware, I think that's going to have to be an even smaller model. But I think that with this new paradigm from DeepSeek, I think it's going to be a whole hell of a lot more possible.
For sure.
All right, cool. So one of the things I know that we all did was we've been going over not just only the research paper from DeepSeek, but we have Martin Fowler who's at ThoughtWorks. And for those of you who don't know Martin Fowler, I'm pretty sure he's one of the guys who signed the Agile Manifesto. So if you work in tech, you know the terrible hazing ritual called Agile for the software development lifecycle. There's a whole hazing ritual around cutting tickets, around acceptance criteria, and then just the massive headaches it can cause with pull requests and getting things merged in. But one of the little known things is that all of the things that we know as agile today, none of them are actually listed in the Agile Manifesto, which Martin Fowler is, I'm pretty sure, one of the original authors authors of, and they were able to publish a full breakdown of not only DeepSeek R1, but the journey of getting to R1, which was in that research paper. And the thing that got me the most about this was, in America, everything before, like when I first got into tech, the status symbol was all about how much money did I raise and how big is my team? Did I raise a round for $169 million and now we have 5,142 employees around the world? Like that used to be a big area to brag on. Now, what I'm seeing happening is that people are like, no, 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 I did not raise venture capital, or like we raised hardly any venture capital, and we're actually doing this whole thing with a team of just 10 people. And that's where I see a lot of people are kind of trying to brag on that, between like Bolt.new, even Lovable. Both of those have like teams of what, like 10 people, and have raised like significant money, with Bolt raising more than 100 million and having less than 10 people on staff, which is crazy. So capital efficiency is one of the main things that people are thinking about. Whereas before it was a flex to show that you bought one of those NVIDIA GPU hoppers. Now people are just like, wait a second, no, 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 like get back to the prompt layer. Don't touch the bare metal.
That's right. I think smaller models has definitely made that push towards running models on the edge. You really don't have to pre-train built models. Let the big players take care of that. Post-training has like basically given us proof that effective emergent reasoning techniques can be brought out of these models, even with the smaller 1 billion, 3 billion, and 7 billion parameter models, which effectively can run on the edge. And when it runs on the edge, you're basically getting the best of both worlds. It's smaller, and at the same time, it's fine-tuned for a very niche use case. And who knows, you might just be able to run it on your mobile phone and have it perform as big as like closed source model.
Yeah. And that's the thing about the edge, is like it. So for those who are not familiar, the edge is the idea that my application, like before, you used to have your application was on the machine that you have in front of you. So the laptop I have is where the application is actually running. Then when AWS really pioneered the cloud, they then started saying, okay, well, your computer isn't that powerful. Your computer's like, I'm doing all this on a 2018 MacBook Pro. So it's 7 years old, but all the compute is actually happening in Arlington, Virginia.